Okay, we're just waiting for Alan to get set up here first. Well, let's open up our public hearing with pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, would you like to just come up and explain what you want to talk for everybody that's here, that's the public hearing?
Sure, what would you like to know? I have my papers.
While you're getting that, you want to read the notice? Go ahead, start explaining. I'm sure we'll have her read the notice when she's back.
Okay, what would you like to know? I have all the papers in front of me. I did this a week ago.
Okay, just briefly tell us, summarize what it is you want to do,
Okay.
and then so the public can
I
hear you.
need some kind of income from the buildings that I have, so that I can keep paying my taxes. Okay, this is exactly what I stated a week ago.
And this is a building separate from the principal living.
Yeah, it's the outbuilding. It's about 100 feet away from my original building. And I did it to scale, according to the scale I gave you. It shows where the windows are. And I did everything that every department has asked me for the last 12 years. And there was supposed to be a provision in there by your secretary that is left to make an addendum that this could be, rented for income. Because they've done it for many people, why can't they do it for me? Right? So, I did everything. I went through 4 building inspectors, maybe 5, at this point, from Tom Burt to the present. Okay? Everything was inspected, the whole 9 yards, the footings, everything.
Yeah, all we need to know is that you want to make it a rental of,
I need to because I have to survive.
and this is going to be a residence, one family residence, or?
Yeah, I guess you can call it that. Call it whatever you want.
Let's have it. Ann, you want to read that notice?
Oh, yes. Notice is hereby given that the Shandaken Planning Board will hold a public hearing pursuant to 274 state law as prescribed in 1650 of the Shandaken Town Code for the purpose of hearing the following application. Peter Colucci, owner of parcel located on 18 Hinkley Road, Shandaken, indicated as section 518, block 2, lot 1, zone R1.5, is seeking approval for a special use permit to use the top floor of the building as an apartment and rent it out for long-term use. Public hearing is scheduled for Wednesday, October 14th, at Town Hall at 6:30, prior to the regularly scheduled meeting.
Thank you.
So I guess that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Is there,
This is just to, stay alive, you know what I mean?
okay. If you have a seat, and we'll have
Sure.
anyone who wants to speak.
Sure.
Is there anyone here to speak on the public hearing?
Peter Colucci.
Warren, are you satisfied with your discussion with him? Or
As far as the building go, he's correct. The apartment was constructed
concern is correct.
Any discussions? Jenny? No? John?
No.
All right, then I guess we can close our public hearing then. There's no further questions?
I appreciate your cooperation.
So, well, we can, we need a motion.
I make a motion to close the public.
All in favor? That's to close the public hearing. In our regular meeting here, it starts in a little while, we'll discuss it further. Now, we have the other public hearing still open, correct? Yeah. Do you want to go ahead of that?
All right, this is the continuation of the public hearing for the Glass Mountain.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, may I leave?
Yeah.
Yes.
Come in.
Continuance of the public hearing for the Glass Mountain. Do we have, anyone that wants to get up and speak again? No, get up and speak again. Please sign if you want to speak.
No, we do it at regular meeting.
Is this the same thing you gave us? No. No?
Speaking to the people that are requesting this.
Okay, is there anyone else that has anything to speak about?
I don't wish to speak about the issue, but what I wish to speak about is that very few people were aware that this was going on today.
As I was just informed earlier, is that it is not our responsibility to reissue any letters. That's a one letter, and then you have to be aware of it.
In other words, you don't have to re-forward it.
Right. I don't know. No, but it is posted though. It's posted on the town website. It's posted on the
Right.
calendar.
We thought it might be in the Freeman, but there was a lovely article about it in today's.
Oh, all right. So I found that out today, because I did ask that when we first came back, if everybody was contacted. And they said it was not our responsibility to continually contact people as long as the meeting stays
But
open.
as I said, we were told at the last adjournment that there would be a notice in the newspaper. I read the Daily Freeman every day. There was not a notice in the Freeman.
I didn't know that you did everybody.
Well, we apologize for that. But you have to be, I guess, more proactive yourself. You know, once you got that letter, and you know we kept the meeting open, I guess you had to be calling town hall and saying, is that hearing going to be happening again this month, or, you know, whatever. So that's what I was told earlier. So I'm sorry about that. I apologize for the board. Okay, is there anyone else? For the Glass Mountain Inn? No. There's gentleman is here. Do you want to get up to speak?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Rod Futterfass, and Ms. Baxter and Mr. Bailey asked me to come along. Just, I think, primarily to make sure that the focus is on the application, because there is a tendency that people have to project and to extrapolate and to consider, the opening of Pandora's box. The application before you is a very simple application. It is a permitted use. There are 3 units, and those 3 units are going to be used just as the other units were used, except that there may be more frequency. But the number of people coming through, the property has plenty of space for people to use the yard if they want to, and I just am hoping that everybody can focus on the application as opposed to what could or might, or they think they're afraid might happen. This is nothing more than using space for people to rent out. 3 units, each is independently set up, each has its own kitchen area. It is not a bed and breakfast, it is simply a place for people to spend time when they come up to look at the leaves, which is pretty nice this time of year. So I think that the only real concern here is that people might read an article about a big topic like bed and breakfast. This is not a bed and breakfast. This is simply the way that you advertise is different than the way other people might advertise in traditional means. But the zoning code permits these uses, and we're just looking to get a fair ruling from the board on the actual application, as opposed to things that people might be misinformed about or concerned about that don't really pertain to this particular use. And really, if there are no other concerns about the merits of the application, we're hoping for a prompt ruling from the board. Thank you.
Warren,
Yes.
have we met all the concerns from the last meeting?
I've had several meetings with Mr. Bailey. We went over the septic use. He provided me with the fact that when they purchased the property, they did a dye test, which is where they introduce a dye to the system and then run water for an extended period of time to see if there are any leaks anywhere on the property. They passed that test. He also reviewed the water bills 6 years? For the past 6 years, which is as far back as you could go, showing that there was no increase, and for the most part, there was a decrease in the consumption. So basing that, if the system was designed at a flow rate and the flow rate has reduced, then the septic is acceptable. The other concerns were, refresh my memory.
The parking,
Okay, yes. There is adequate parking on the site, and it allows for people to exit and enter without backing onto Route 214. There was a concern brought up about could there be some sort of a border placed along the side of the driveway to prevent people from inadvertently backing onto their neighbor's property. So that is one thing to consider. Technically, it's not in the zoning codes, but that is a consideration that you can take under advisement as a stipulation, perhaps. Well, we already discussed it as far as the permitted use, since it went from monthly to weekend, it went from semi-permanent to transit, hence the reason for the special. And he has since, he has since modified the website so that any future expansion would have to be come before the board for additional permits, if he so sees fit to apply, and it would come under review.
any questions?
Ms. Miller mentioned that she had an easement
Correct.
for, was anything done with that?
I would need to actually see the deed of easement. The map that I received does not constitute an easement, so there would have to be a site plan or a deed, which we don't keep those records.
Well, we showed
In
it
our
to you
office.
last time.
That doesn't constitute a deed of easement. That constitutes a drawing, but that wouldn't,
The paper meant nothing.
as far as the town, no. The deed of easement, I have deed of easement, I've seen them, and it's granted from one owner to the other to use that property.
Where do we see that?
Could be in public record at the county level.
Well, she's got a deed that says that they have a right to use that property. That's why the driveway goes in that direction.
Does Karen have an actual deed?
I wouldn't be able to get in that house if we didn't have a school lane. I mean, when we first purchased it, that was the only way we could come in.
Oh, so he had one deed?
Does she have an actual deed?
It's a right of way.
President, Jeff?
You know, my neighbor down the road that used to live there, he told me about the right of way.
I'll figure it out. How old is this? 1921? Long.
What's the date of that, 1921?
1921.
Or you actually have to see the deed itself.
Well, if you even have a deeded right of way, it would be convenience from one owner to the other.
It's in the deed, it's spelled out. in
It
the
could be,
deed.
it could be spelled out in the deed.
Right, that's all, that's the only place.
This
it
here,
would
see,
be.
this has no, you know how we have our maps?
Right.
Our maps get recorded.
Right.
Right.
Is
They
that
get a section
recorded
block.
in that?
There's no recording on here, I don't have a copy of the recording, so I don't know if this was ever, this could have been presented,
But not right.
but not registered. So if it's not registered, it's not on the county registry. You know, so there's no, and there's really, there's no reference. You know how they normally reference a stone pipe set here or something there?
Yeah.
We have no reference here to go from. We have some from the center line of the highway, but what portion of the highway? So this may exist somewhere, but as it stands here,
That existed in 1921 because School Lane did not exist at that time. And I had to go in from
What he's
214.
talking about is that this is not a legal
Legal
deed,
deed.
and to have a right of way on somebody's property is gonna be in your deed, which is registered in Ulster County. And in there,
We don't know if that's not so.
if it's not there, then you don't really have a right of way.
Well, it's a deed up, and I think what's on the back.
Let me ask Cal.
Mr. Forrest, could you look and see if this is a legal document?
It's not a legal document. I can tell from here it's not a legal document.
Right.
A right-of-way is, as the
Oh, no,
gentleman
but you
stated.
explain that to me when I bought my house, what a right of way.
Yeah,
I
it's not a
can
big
certainly
issue
explain what a
right now.
right-of-way is, but the fact of the matter is, number one, that is not a deeded right-of-way, it's 1921 map. Number two, if you look at the property, you can see that if there was a right-of-way, it's abandoned, it's all grassed over. Nobody travels over the lawn to their house, they have alternate access. And even if they had a right-of-way, this use does not in any way interfere with that right-of-way. Nobody is telling them that they can't use the legal right-of-way that they've got, but it's not there if you look at the property. And even if it
Well,
were
if
there,
you look at the property-
ma'am, I'm speaking.
Okay.
And if it was there, then the question would be, is there anything being done on the property that interferes with it? Nothing that is being proposed for the use of this property would interfere with any right-of-way if there was one.
My other question was,
And by the way, Mr. Brewer did do a survey map which did not show any deeded right-of-way in the county clerk's office.
Well, if you looked at the property, you saw that the driveway goes up towards this.
And I also saw that the driveway ended at their property and did not continue on.
But
It
went
did
right
not
up into
continue
this-
on.
No, it's property.
This paper that Helen,
Okay, that's okay.
Karen presented was something before Schoolhouse Lane was ever built. So the only way she could get into her property was from 214.
Right.
So that, I'm sure that that was a right of way at one time. But in realizing how many years have passed and how it's grown over, although probably, is that your driveway now?
I'm sorry?
Is that your driveway that
Yes,
you're
that's-
using now?
Everything that's being discussed is my property.
So
But it's
now,
not, but my driveway ends right at my garage, and then there's a swath of grass that has long since grown over.
Well, where else would they be parking?
yeah, so the right of way doesn't really concern us in this application.
As long as they're gonna park in the driveway, there's no other parking other than the driveway.
Right. Are you having parking on parts of your property?
Yeah, there's plenty of parking which again, were there to be a right-of-way, which we don't think exists, there's plenty of parking which would not interfere with that use. All of the parking is closer to the habitable areas and just, it doesn't impact the
And
right-of-way.
that's for 14 people.
I'm sorry?
No.
They explained that it was, they could handle 14 people.
We counted about 10 parking spaces for 3 units.
That's, if you defer to me.
Couple of feet out.
Anyone else have questions? And I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Well, am I gonna get to speak?
Oh, do you want to speak? Yes.
As I spoke before, and you said I was wrong today, you was on Facebook. There is a town law, and we have zoning laws. And an Airbnb, where we live as a residential area, is not allowed. This is a residential area. When they bought this property, they put people out of apartments to become an Airbnb. There's a few apartments left for people with low or middle income in the town of Shandaken. Now, they want to come in here, they bought this house. If they wanted an Airbnb, they should have seeked property that was commercial and that they could do this. Now, Airbnb is the people that come and they cannot stay more than 30 days. That's the law. And if they're having people coming in and out like that, this is not the place to do it. We're a residential neighborhood, we're near a school, we don't need to have, if we have 14 people and he's saying there's 10 spots, they could have, I can't see how they possibly had 10 spots. Because his driveway is no more than mine, and I probably could get 5 in mine. So I would not say that that's the way it is. And I don't trust what they say they're going to do and what they're not going to do. I saw what they did down in Williamsburg. They were also into the habit of opening businesses and that were not legal and then moving when they had to become legal. And then they went on. It's setting a pattern of distrust that they're not speaking to what they're going to do. They want to get in the door, they want to get a permit. Now, we have other houses in the area that I could have an Airbnb too, I got a bigger house. We do not want this in our area. We want to be what we are, a residential area, not a commercial area where people are coming in and going out, coming for 4 days, coming for a week. This is not what we want in our area, and I don't think that we should open that Pandora's box, because this is, he's already mentioned something to me. We saw that things were delivered there. He said bar stools. They were not bar stools. I don't care what he said. They were not bar stools. Come and show me the bar stools. You never said I could come and see the bar stool. I don't want them, because they're not in there. He could go out tomorrow and get another. I do not trust what he's saying. He has a bad record, and I'm feeling very distrustful of everything. because he's not been upfront. He went and found out, he's there a year. Why didn't he go to the town board? Oh, yes, he did go to the town board. He knew what he needed to get a permit for. Why now are you seeking a permit? Thank you.
Thank you. Could you sign? Your name?
I'm curious as to, what about the other Airbnbs that are already in the town?
No, we're only addressing,
We're only addressing this one.
Do they have permits though?
we are not addressing that at this time. We can bring it up after.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
We can't address that at this time. We haven't
Okay.
addressed this the last time.
Okay.
We can address that at a later time. Thank you.
I know Jeff. Jeff is a fireman. We've got a lot of things done at the firehouse since he's been there. He's a great worker. He's totally honest. Lend a hand whenever he can. You have a problem, Jeff is there. I see nothing wrong with what he's trying to do. It's more revenue for the town. It's more jobs for the town. It helps the tax base. I see nothing wrong with what he's trying to do. I hope you put that into consideration. Thank you.
Do you live in the area?
I live at 3 Station Road,
Okay.
Phoenicia.
What is your name?
3 Station Road,
No, your name.
Kerith Kilgore. I will spell it for you.
That would be good.
Kerrythduir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Spell it. I had it.
Thank you.
People only see that there's one.
Yes.
Yeah, she just told me that.
Anyone else want to speak?
I just want to, one thing, is this not a zoning district problem? Do not they have to change the zoning?
No.
No, that would be if it were
But
prohibited.
why?
If it were prohibited
If it was
use,
prohibited use.
then it would go, then it would be before the zoning board for a zoning variance for use. But this particular, what he wants to do is special permit,
An
which
Airbnb?
Airbnb, as I explained before, is an
Yeah.
advertising agency. It's not a permitting agency.
It's what?
It's an advertising agency, not a permitting agency. Because you're on Airbnb doesn't permit you to do,
When they're not really legal.
all
And
this is,
they've
all
been
it
used in
is.
they've been used down in the city quite
Once,
often.
once
to
again,
get-
that's the city,
Right,
that's
but
out of my
there's
jurisdiction.
also New York State laws about it too.
They're working on it.
We have a code for it, and it is permitted. It's a permitted use.
How is it permitted use? We have an Airbnb code in town of Shandaken?
All Airbnb means it's on the internet. That's all it means.
Not really.
It's a bed and breakfast. Whether he advertises on the internet or he advertises
It's not a bread
in
and
a
breakfast.
newspaper.
It's not a bread and breakfast. If he was running a business, he needs to get a license, he needs to get insurance, he needs to pay taxes. There's a whole lot of things he has to do to get into business. He's running a business out of his home. And this is not legal.
Lauren, what do we categorize?
Every cottage road.
Thank you.
It's right in our code. It's cabin cottage development.
Cabin?
Cabin or cottage development.
Where are the cabins?
He doesn't have cabins,
Oh.
but he's only applying for a permit